Prince Harry's U.S. immigration records have finally been partially unveiled after a long 2-year legal tussle. On Tuesday, officials from the current administration dismissed any chatter about the Duke receiving a special pass into the country. A lawyer from the Homeland Security team stressed that every step in Harry's application followed the standard rules and regulations. What might seem like a secretive process on paper was laid out in heavily redacted documents, released after a lawsuit pushed by a conservative policy group determined to show that Harry had been untruthful about his past drug use on his visa forms. Yet, the bulk of his personal file remains under wraps, preserving his privacy. The 6 documents available to the public are filled with long stretches of blacked-out text designed to shield Harry from potential harassment. For him, this partial disclosure likely signals the nearing end of a saga that ignited last year when the policy group took legal action against the agency. Rumors had even swirled that the former royal might face deportation under harsh words from a former leader. Initially, Homeland Security had turned down a request to share his visa papers, arguing that questions over his drug use could hint at dishonesty in his application. In his memoir and a popular streaming series, Harry openly mentioned his experiences with cannabis, cocaine, and magic mushrooms. Had he filled out his U.S. immigration forms with such details back in 2020, his entry might have been blocked or led to further intense scrutiny. The released pages include a statement by Jared Panter, the chief FOIA officer at the agency, who explained that no part of Harry's records could be shared because anyone with a basic understanding of immigration law would easily deduce his status. Despite being 40 years old and having moved to the country with his wife, Meghan Markle, and their 2 children, Harry has kept his current legal standing in the U.S. private. Panter noted that it is standard practice for U.S. immigration to protect the details about an individual's non-immigrant or immigrant status, unless the person in question gives explicit permission for the information to be shared. To release such data would risk exposing someone to targeted harassment and unwanted media attention. This statement made it clear the documents do not hint at any special treatment. Instead, they simply outline the standard regulatory process as required by law. Within Panter's declaration is a 7-page index listing all documents considered in the case, all of which are completely redacted. For additional files are declarations from other records officers at the agency and, like the first set, show heavy redactions. The 6th document is a snippet from a private hearing on April 30, 2024, where both sides debated the matter. In an unexpected twist, there's even a brief nod to the famous musician Sting, with one voice in the room musing, whether it's Prince Harry or Sting, or anyone else who stands in the spotlight, visa status is a sensitive matter. What hidden details might be lurking behind these redacted lines? This wave of document releases came after Judge Carl Nichols in Washington reversed his earlier decision. Back in September, he had refused the policy group's plea to unveil all of Harry's records, citing the Duke's right to privacy. But following a heated hearing, he decided to share as much information as the law would allow. Homeland Security had argued that these records were extremely sensitive, contending that making them public would be akin to a fishing expedition into someone's private life. Speculation ran wild after the case reopened old debates over whether a former leader might try to force Harry out of the country. Last year, that leader had boldly claimed he wouldn't protect him. Yet, in a surprising twist just last month, he backtracked, saying he wouldn't deport Harry, citing issues with his wife as a reason for leniency. In an interview with a major newspaper, he joked that Harry already had enough trouble at home. Niall Gardner, who heads a conservative think tank closely linked to the legal fight over Harry's visa records, spoke to a well-known news outlet after the documents were released. Gardner argued that the public has a right to know exactly how Harry managed to gain entry into the United States and whether all the steps were followed correctly. He lamented that the current records, so heavily blacked out by the agency under a previous administration, leave too many questions unanswered. The American people deserve full transparency, he insisted, suggesting that a future administration might finally provide an unredacted version of the file. As the dust settles on this drawn-out case, Harry's representatives remain tight-lipped about the unfolding drama. With every redacted page raising new questions, one can't help but wonder what secrets still lie hidden behind those blacked-out lines, and will the full story ever see the light of day?